Welcome back to my channel. This video is a little different than some of my other ones in that we'll be focusing on stationery organization. And you'll see that my stationery used to be just in this little drawer in this file cabinet basically. So when I moved in 2021 into the current house I'm in, I had packed away my stationery into this drawer and pretty much kept everything there. So you'll see I have my washi tapes here, which I have a big collection of my stamp, my notebooks, pens, and so on. And I didn't really have a good place to have them easily on hand and out of the way. Also, this cabinet was meant to be temporary and they were also breaking, so these drawers were not ideal to keep long term. And so finally, after about a year and a half after moving in, I finally decided that it was time to put up some pegboards from IKEA. So primarily I'm using IKEA here, my favorite. And so this is a good and easy way to organize my stationery. So you'll see I have a lot of my old bullet journals. This box that was from a gift set, which has a lot of my markers and pens and also pouches, some ephemera. And then I had this pencil case that I was actually going to use as a food styling kit, but then I never did. So I put in some of my fine liners in there. And then I went in and cleaned out this drawer in case there was anything else in there and said goodbye. And so this is my collection in 2023. A lot of it is random. A lot of my notebooks are older before I just discovered more stationery brands and hardcover notebooks that I really liked. And so now I was like, okay, you take everything out of these random boxes and start organizing them. So those are new journals that I haven't used yet. And the stack was larger 2 years ago than it is now since I've used some of those. And then the journals that I've already filled and used, a lot of those were notebooks from Denick. I really like them for their designs and the fact that they donate a lot of their proceeds to build schools in other countries, but they don't really have hardbound books in their dock grid, which is why I moved away from them and started using other brands. I'm aggressively throwing my washi tapes to the side to organize them together. And then finally I got everything into categories like miscellaneous pens, all my markers, stickers, post-it notes, gel pens, fine liners, and so on. And here we go. Here are the IKEA pegboards that we've seen everywhere. They're very ubiquitous in organizing stationery, tools, and so on, especially for folks who have like hardware tools or various craft supplies. So I already had the square shape in my old house and I used it, and I realized I needed more space, so I bought the more rectangular one. And these are all part of the same Scottish collection. I don't know, I do not speak Swedish and I did not look up the pronunciation prior to this, so I'm very sorry if I ruined that. And then I got some of these buckets that are also part of the collection or system. I don't know, what are we calling these? So I had different containers to put all of my supplies in, including all of my notebooks and stickers. So the room that I'm in doesn't actually have a ton of storage in terms of like drawers, and I have bookshelves, but they're mostly filled with books and my notebooks. So I really wanted something that was not on the ground and really utilized the walls to organize my stationery, and so it's also easy to grab and it also becomes a decoration piece. So I had a few of these containers and I decided to buy some more, which is why they're still wrapped and why I'm opening them. Since I'd previously gone with the white containers, I try to keep as much of these containers white as well, just to keep everything matching and consistent. I wanted to use some of these closed lid containers for things like paper clips, things that are easy to grab but also just want to keep it shut. And then I got this trio of baskets, I guess, that can also hang onto the bulletin board. They come in 3 sizes, so you'll see the smaller ones are in there. I wanted to use these to like keep my sticker packs in there, various scrapbook paper, ephemera, and so on. And now it actually also houses some of my rulers, since in unpacking I've acquired other supplies from other people in my house, mostly my sister. So I have like more rulers that are larger and will fit in there. And so here is a lot of my stationery put into the little containers. You'll see I have a lot of my pens together. Some of the open hanging ones have different sets of markers. Those bungee cords I initially used to put all of my washi tapes on because I thought it'd be easy that they'd be hanging. But I realized that when you take off the bungee cord, it's really hard to get the washi tape that you need. And it became an issue, so I eventually got rid of that, which you'll see in the next video, because I ended up reorganizing everything. So you'll see that in a couple weeks. Here I wanted to plan out what I wanted my layout to look like, where I wanted to put things, just so I had an idea once the boards were on the wall. I saw this LED clock that I got from Amazon. I did not ultimately put it on the board. It's actually sitting on one of my bookshelves now, so I can easily see the time, but it's not in front of me and in my face. So this is how I decided to plan how to put things together. And then my sister helped me put the boards on because I am not great at it. And then you'll see that like I even recorded side angles, but I have lost a lot of footage here, which is why this is choppy and weird. But here we are putting the bulletin board together, taking away some washi tapes for where we had decided on the positioning of the boards. I'd also had meant to have 2 boards that were the same size, but I actually forgot that the one that I already had was a square. I thought it was a rectangle, so I was like, oh, I'll have 2 rectangles and have a lot of space until I came home. And I don't live near an IKEA anymore. Any IKEA is about a couple hours away, so when I made these purchases, it was meant to be pretty final. Unless something was totally wrong, then I would eventually go return it, but it's not as easy as it used to be. And this wasn't really worth returning or going out of my way for, so I just decided to stick with 1 rectangle and 1 square, and it's working out pretty well. And unfortunately, I lost my footage of the final setup of the bulletin boards. Like, I've spent days going through all of my hard drives, looking through different folders, Google Drive, everything, and I don't know where they went. So we're gonna have to rely on pictures, which you'll see in a minute. That's the boards done. And here we go. Luckily, I have a few pictures that I can share. So this is what the board looked like once it was done. You'll see all the washi tapes on the bungee cords. I put some of them on the hooks. The hooks worked well. I put a few decorations, like a really big oversized paper clip. My friend embroidered that Pakistan fabrics pattern embroidery piece. And this is how I put it together. This is the V1, I would say. But there were some problems. You'll see this big one where I put a lot of my ephemera. It just looks really chaotic and disorganized, so I actually bought a sticker book with all those like clear sleeves that you can put like cards or whatever else in, and I'm going to organize that, and hopefully it'll look less chaotic, because these are Ziplocs right now, or envelopes, and it just doesn't look as nice and clean, and I don't like the way the rulers are there. Also, if you do want to order an embroidery piece, my friend makes them on Etsy, and so I'll include her information here and in the description box, and you can definitely make a purchase. As I said earlier, the bungee cords did not work well, so you'll see that they're tight on the wall, so when you open one, it loosens it, and a lot of the washi tapes fall out, kind of like in Sonic when the coins fall out and then he's shocked. That's literally how I felt each time. So it was really hard, especially if you wanted a washi tape in the middle, but I did find an alternative solution also from IKEA, and it's part of the system that I use moving forward, and it's working out really well. These hooks worked out well, but I could only put a few washi tapes at a time, so I really tried to put ones that I use very often, like days of the week, grid ones that I commonly go to, which worked well, but again, you can't fit a lot on there, so these hooks were not the greatest. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this weird cut up video. If you stayed, please let me know what you think. Please be sure to subscribe, and I'll be back with more bullet journal stationery videos in the coming weeks. Thanks, bye.